Ever wondered how much of what you hear in the red pill and manosphere ideologies are projections of male narcissism? To answer this, let's first understand what projection is. In the realm of psychology, projection is a defense mechanism that involves attributing one's own undesirable feelings onto someone else. It's like a mental mirage, if you will, often leaving the projector feeling superior and the recipient confused or belittled. Now, where does this tie into the red pill and manosphere ideologies? These online spaces are rife with male narcissistic projections. Their narratives often involve distorted views of masculinity and femininity, skewed perspectives on relationship dynamics, and a misinterpretation of concepts like consent. These ideologies become a playground for narcissistic projections, painting a picture that is both harmful and misleading. Today, we take a deep dive into debunking these projections, one by one. First on the chopping block, the myth of toxic masculinity. The term toxic masculinity has been bandied about, distorted, and misunderstood, particularly within red pill and manosphere ideologies. But let's cut through the haze and set the record straight. Toxic masculinity doesn't mean that all masculinity is toxic. Quite the contrary. It refers to a specific set of harmful attitudes and behaviors often associated with some traditional forms of masculinity. We're talking about things like suppressing emotions, promoting aggression, and devaluing women. It's these unhealthy attitudes and behaviors that are toxic, not masculinity itself. The misconception often propagated in these circles is that challenging toxic masculinity equates to an attack on all men or all forms of masculinity. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. The goal isn't to demonize men or masculinity, but rather to encourage healthy, respectful masculinity. A masculinity that values empathy, emotional intelligence, and respect for all people regardless of gender. There's also this erroneous belief that toxic masculinity is a term designed to silence men. Again, not true. It's a term used to start conversations about harmful behaviors and attitudes, and how we can collectively work to change them. It's a call to action, an invitation for men to reject harmful stereotypes and embrace a more inclusive, respectful form of masculinity. Lastly, it's important to note that the concept of toxic masculinity isn't about assigning blame. It's about recognizing the societal pressures that often encourage these harmful behaviors and working together to challenge and change them. It's about fostering a culture that values and respects all forms of masculinity, including those that defy traditional norms. So, it's clear, toxic masculinity myths are just that, myths. It's time we debunk these misconceptions and redefine what it means to be masculine in a way that promotes respect, equality, and healthy relationships. Let's move away from the harmful narratives and towards a more inclusive understanding of masculinity. Because at the end of the day, challenging toxic masculinity isn't an attack on men, it's an opportunity for growth, for better relationships, and for a healthier society. So it's clear toxic masculinity myths are just that, myths. Next, we tackle the gross misinterpretation of feminism. A common misconception propagated within red pill and manosphere ideologies is that feminism is a movement that seeks to assert female dominance over men. This couldn't be further from the truth. Feminism, at its core, is about advocating for equal rights and opportunities for all genders. It's not about tipping the scales in favor of women, but rather about ensuring that the scales are balanced. Consider the way these ideologies often portray feminists as man-hating, power-hungry individuals. This caricature is not only inaccurate but also harmful. It creates an us versus them mentality that discourages dialogue and understanding. Instead of seeing feminists as enemies, we should recognize them as advocates for fairness and justice. Another common misinterpretation is the idea that feminism seeks to erase the differences between genders. In reality, feminism acknowledges and celebrates these differences. It recognizes that men and women have unique experiences and perspectives, and it seeks to ensure that these differences do not result in discrimination or inequality. Furthermore, it's important to debunk the notion that feminism is anti-male. This is a distortion often used to discredit the movement and create division. Feminism is not against men, but against a system of gender inequality that disadvantages both women and men. It challenges harmful stereotypes and expectations that limit individuals of all genders. We also need to address the claim that feminism is responsible for the demise of traditional gender roles. While it's true that feminism questions rigid gender norms, it doesn't eliminate the choice for individuals to follow traditional roles if they so wish. What it does do, however, is create space for individuals to choose their path without societal pressure or judgment. In conclusion, it's crucial to understand that the misinterpretation of feminism within these ideologies is a distortion of a movement that seeks to promote equality and fairness. It's not a war against men, but a struggle against a system that perpetuates inequality. Feminism isn't about superiority, it's about equality. Now, let's dissect the warped relationship dynamics often promoted. When navigating through the tumultuous waters of the red pill and manosphere ideologies, we often come across the glorification of control and manipulation tactics, which are misleadingly portrayed as signs of strength and dominance. This is a classic example of male narcissistic projection, where power is equated with the ability to control and manipulate others. But don't be fooled, folks. This is a far cry from what constitutes a healthy relationship. In a truly healthy relationship, power is not the end game. Instead, it's about fostering a mutual respect and understanding, where both parties feel valued and heard. Control and manipulation tactics are not signs of strength, but rather indicators of insecurity and fear. A truly strong individual does not need to control their partner, but rather empowers them, creating an equal partnership where both individuals can flourish. Now, onto the dismissal of emotional intelligence. This is another common theme within these ideologies, where emotional intelligence is often belittled and portrayed as a weakness. This couldn't be further from the truth. Emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage one's own emotions and those of others, is a vital component of any successful relationship. The ability to empathize with your partner, to truly understand their feelings and perspectives, is not a weakness, but rather a strength. It allows for open and effective communication, promotes understanding, and fosters a deep and meaningful connection. In fact, research has shown that couples with high levels of emotional intelligence are more likely to have satisfying and long-lasting relationships. So let's flip the script on these harmful narratives. Let's debunk these illusions and advocate for healthier relationship dynamics. Let's celebrate emotional intelligence, not dismiss it. Let's promote equal partnerships, not control and manipulation. Because at the end of the day, healthy relationships are not about power games or emotional suppression. Healthy relationships thrive on equality and emotional connection. Let's not forget the disturbing interpretation of consent and sexual dynamics. The red pill and manosphere ideologies often misconstrue these concepts, leading to harmful behaviors and attitudes. They can propagate a skewed understanding of consent, often treating it as something negotiable or worse, unnecessary. However, it's crucial to debunk these misconceptions and promote a healthier perspective. Consent is not a gray area. It's clear and unequivocal. It's not a one-time agreement, but an ongoing dialogue between partners. Consent is about mutual respect, understanding, and agreement. It's not just about saying yes or no. It's about understanding and respecting your partner's boundaries and ensuring they feel safe and comfortable. The sexual dynamics within these ideologies can also be problematic. They often promote a power dynamic that places one person in a dominant position and the other in a submissive one. This perspective is not only outdated but also harmful, as it hinders the development of a healthy and equal relationship. It's time to unmask these projections and promote a more balanced and respectful approach to sexual dynamics. This involves mutual respect, understanding, and communication. It's about acknowledging and valuing your partner's autonomy and feelings. Let's challenge these harmful narratives and promote a healthier, more respectful approach to intimate relationships. Consent is crucial, and respect is non-negotiable. Finally, we look at how these distorted ideologies impact personal development. The harmful narratives propagated by the red pill and manosphere can significantly stunt personal growth and authentic self-expression. By promoting a warped view of masculinity, they create a restrictive box that can suffocate the freedom to be oneself. Just as a tree needs room to expand and flourish, so do we as individuals. We need the space to grow, to explore different aspects of ourselves, and to fully embrace our potential. However, When we're constantly fed a diet of toxic masculinity and unfounded beliefs about femininity, our growth can be stunted. We may find ourselves conforming to these narratives, suppressing our true selves in the process. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can choose to question these narratives. We can decide to reject the harmful ideologies that do not serve us. Instead, we can embrace a healthier perspective on masculinity and femininity, one that promotes respect, equality, and emotional intelligence. This is not just about personal growth. It's also about creating a society where everyone is free to be themselves, where everyone is respected and valued for who they are. It's about fostering a culture that celebrates diversity and encourages genuine self-improvement. So, as you journey through life, remember to question, to analyze, to grow. Don't let these distorted ideologies limit your potential. Remember, your growth should never be at the expense of others.